Hello everyone, this is Babamots with another Homeworlds commentary. This game is between Crit1Calends and The Roundabout. Both have been featured on the channel a few times. Both are quite good. Um, Crit's going first. I picked this game just because it's a recently played game and I know the players are good. So, Crit's up first, takes a yellow banker. Roundabout takes a yellow fortress. Crit trades for yellow right away. Roundabout does two. Opens up the mediums. Crit gets the first one. Roundabout matches. Crit spreads out. Okay, this game I think is going to accelerate very quickly. Crit will probably build that Y3. So will the Roundabout. Ooh, no, that's a mistake. Okay, Roundabout's better than this. Roundabout, I am sure, will know to take this back because that's much too greedy. That's left three pieces of the same color at home and nothing else. Roundabout will get bluebirded. Yeah, they took it back. They knew just to build that one yellow. All right, so this is one of those interesting times when, even though the players have mirrored their opening builds, they've just pursued the one color, and it was a color accelerated by two non-large home stars, and so the result is that both players get some additional large ships very quickly, and in this case they're yellow, which means that there's an enormous amount of moving power on the board. So it tends to make the situation very ticklish very quickly, I think. So both players have to start being quite careful. All right, Crit spreads out their yellows, hoping to build that last Y3. I don't think the Roundabout's going to let that happen. They'll either discover that as a star or trade their Y2 maybe to keep it out of Crit's hands. Yeah, Roundabout trades for an R2. Crit then is in sort of a funny spot where they'd like to get a red pretty darn quickly, but they don't really have a good place to do it. They might trade the Y2 at home. All right, they're living on the edge here. So Roundabout can send. Let's see, how does this really work out? The Roundabout could send their G3 into Crit's home, and Crit wouldn't be able to capture it, but the Roundabout would lose, or at best draw, if they sacrifice their R2 to capture anything at Crit's home. The only other things that the Roundabout can send to Crit's home are they could send the R2 itself or the Y1, but none of those are really a take over your home type of threat. Roundabout could instead invade the Altair colony with their Y3, but Crit I think would very happily build the last Y3 to overpopulate that. So maybe it's not all that crazy for Crit to put off building getting a red ship for at least one more turn. And Crit is threatening to build that Y3 again. So, and Roundabout doesn't have as good of a way of dealing with that. Let's see what Roundabout comes up with. Just building red would be okay. Yeah, discovering it as a star is a much more permanent way of blocking that build. Doing it with the large, a ship that's the same color as its star is in a little bit of extra danger, and if I'm going to put something in danger, I'd rather make it a small ship than a large. That's what Roundabout's thinking. They settle on the small ship. Yeah, I think I like that best. Okay, what does Crit do now? Crit may want to discover a blue star so they can trade for some red. You know, I guess one reason that Roundabout might have been thinking of advancing the Y3 instead is that if they had invaded Crit's home with that Y3, then Crit's only good defense would have been to overpopulate their own yellow star. And Roundabout would be a little behind in material, but getting one of your opponent's stars that early for just one large ship might not be too bad. But they advanced the small yellow anyhow. Alright, Crit, going back to building green, that would... If Crit takes the little green, Roundabout gets the medium, which isn't so bad. Crit, feeling the pressure to get a red, yeah. They trade out their Y2. Roundabout might like to build that as a ship here in Betelgeuse, yeah. And it is 2 yellow ships together, but Crit can only overpopulate them by sacrificing their own flagship. And it would leave things pretty even, but Roundabout would have an extra little ship out here, so Roundabout would end up ahead. So Crit's not going to want to overpopulate that. We could try to slow push it, I guess. That's what they're thinking about. Yeah, interesting. That puts some pressure on these yellows. One of those will need to move. But Crit doesn't really have any follow-up. If Roundabout, say, builds a little red to have something cheaper to attack this with, then I don't know that Crit really accomplishes much with this. Maybe they see something I don't. Maybe they see something I don't could be the title of my entire YouTube channel. Yeah, Roundabout spreads out to avoid the overpopulation, and I don't know that Crit really has much of a follow-up to this. It seems like they just handed Roundabout some time to do what they probably kind of wanted to do anyway, which is put more ships into an aggressive position outside of Crit's home. Although Crit invades again here at Electra, so Roundabout I think is going to have to back out. Yeah, I'm not sure how much I like that exchange. Crit brought a large ship back out of its nice aggressive position. And kind of forced Roundabout to spread out their yellows so that so that Roundabout has control of more stars now. I think that worked out a little better for Roundabout, especially if Roundabout now builds some red to capture this little guy. Crit's going to have to move them out, and I don't know that Crit really got much done with that. Crit returns to building green. There is a new... did a green star get vacated somewhere and all that? Oh, yeah. Okay, so maybe that's what... frankly, it's possible Crit had that in mind the whole time, that moving the Y3 off of that G1 star, put it back in the bank so that Crit could build the G1, and Roundabout wouldn't get to build a G2. They both just got a G1 each. And Crit trades for blue, Roundabout trades for blue. And now, Crit getting aggressive again. What, if anything, does that achieve? It gets that large ship back in an aggressive position. Crit, I think, should probably not be sacrificing that R2, so it seems like an empty threat. But Roundabout may respond anyhow. They do. Just a lot of back and forth here. Trying to decide what type of star they want to occupy. I think both players would benefit from having some more red that they could actually, so that they could sacrifice some red without losing all they have. Crit thinking about getting aggressive in that colony. Yeah, and Roundabout can't reinforce with their Y3, or Crit will just overpopulate. Oh. That's an interesting idea from Roundabout. They moved the Y1 into Crit's home, and I shouldn't have advanced twice. I should have talked about it at least a little bit before seeing if they committed, because if they'd taken it back, then we wouldn't have this on the screen anymore. Crit, I think they don't want to capture that little yellow, both because it would put that Y3 star back in the bank, and that's Crit's only red. And if roundabout then proceeds to, well, they could invade with another yellow. They could invade with just this Y2. I don't think they want to invade with the Y3 because they'd have to sacrifice the Y2 to do it, and they'd be left with almost no ships once the star blows up. But yeah, it puts Crit in a little bit of a ticklish spot where they would like to capture this invader, but they shouldn't. Okay, they pull back the R2. Now, does Roundabout see some way to build that Y3? Sacrificing the mothership isn't good. Building it in Betelgeuse will just get it over the flagship overpopulated. No, I don't think Roundabout actually has a good way to build that. So I think overall Crit's invasion with the R2 was a failure. But Roundabout just withdraws. Both. I feel like both players are trying to get aggressive. We've had Roundabout has actually moved a ship into Crit's home, but then didn't do anything with it. Crit moved a ship into this colony, but then couldn't do anything with it. We've seen games like this a few times before, where if you, it's players are counting too much on their one red ship to protect them everywhere, but they can't afford to actually sacrifice it to use it when they want to get aggressive. It's what do they call a piece in chess? It's overworked. It's those red pieces are trying to do too many things at once and end up not being good for invasions. Crit, well, this is the same thing again. Crit, the people don't want to watch this, do they? Do you guys want to watch this? The red piece just moving in into this colony again? All right, Roundabout moves back. Crit decides to go forward this time. Yeah, and Crit is still in a better position to build that that Y3 than Roundabout is. So Roundabout, I guess, is just going to discover it as a star again. Oh, Crit took it back. Moving out the blue. Well, isn't that interesting? You know what I think the Roundabout should do? A move I like here. I don't know if it's good or not. Trade the Y1 for G1. Force Crit to trade away their only green ship. So otherwise they'll lose their mothership. Well, when Roundabout sacrifices G3, but I guess Roundabout would also be losing their mothership. Maybe that's not so good. But I kind of like the idea. All right, Roundabout's probably making a better move by discovering the last B3 piece as a star. Getting a lot of aggressive pieces up front here. Roundabout has the now has everything set up that they will get Crit's yellow star if they want to. Crit can't afford to, well, whether Crit if Crit sacrifices to the red to capture this little yellow, Roundabout moves in the Y3, Crit's only defense is to move in their own Y2. And if Crit does anything else, then Roundabout moves in the Y3, threatening to capture and win. So Crit's got to capture it, and then Roundabout moves in with a Y2 for the demolition. So Roundabout absolutely gets that Y1 star if they want to. But I don't know if it's actually a good idea. In fact, I don't think it is. I think it's too much of an investment. I don't think Roundabout should be invading like this. I think they're just wasting their time. Yeah, so this G1 trade, this is what I was toying with a couple of moves ago, but I don't think it's such a good move anymore. Crit can just capture it and they will still have red left. Yeah, they took it back wisely. Building a G1 at home. I think Crit's just gonna... Are they gonna capture that Y1? Or are they gonna bother? They might just expect Roundabout to push the Y3 forward. Yeah, this Y1 is awkward for Crit a little bit, but it's not making all that much of a threat. I think Roundabout has to invest too much if they actually want to complete the demolition of that star. Although now with a G1, Roundabout could sacrifice that to build the Y2, and Roundabout wouldn't be losing quite so much material, I guess. It's... So Crit's passing it up again. So this embassy piece has been here for a long time, and several times it's moved in and out, I think. Kind of unusual. Let's see. So Crit just builds that yellow. Yeah, I think that's quite good. It blocks Roundabout from building that yellow and saving Roundabout a piece for himself. So if Roundabout wants that star, they'll have to do it the old-fashioned way, moving in the yellow ship. Nope, I don't think this green trade is any good anymore. If Crit just captures, Roundabout doesn't have any way to turn this into an overpopulation of the fleet. So the trade's no good. Although if they move that green forward, then okay, well, it seems like Roundabout wants to put pressure on Crit's mothership by pushing greens closer. If Roundabout then proceeds to trade this Y1 for G1, then that's more pressure and could actually turn into a threat. Roundabout. Oh, they commit to that? I really don't like that. I think Crit just sacrifices this R2 to capture. Yeah. Okay, Roundabout, what you got now? Okay, well that's something. I I like it less and less. It looks like Roundabout is targeting the star again, or just trying to tempt Crit into throwing away all of the red they have, so that Roundabout can pester them everywhere. But this yellow is not really all that much of a threat. Ooh, yeah. If Crit trades for a red here, then Roundabout can sacrifice their red to capture the red. Oh, but Crit just takes it all back. That turns out just fine for Crit. I don't see. I think that's actually not too bad of a move from Crit. Trading the red instead. I'm always nervous trading my mothership for colors other than green because I want to keep that green because shopping sprees are so powerful if you can get it set up right. Sacrificing the green to build the yellow. Okay, that gives Roundabout fewer things they could capture. Roundabout trades for green again. That's okay. That's threatening the win by overpopulation again. If you're not seeing it, Roundabout can just sacrifice their G3 to build 2 more greens in Crit's home, overpopulate everything, and Roundabout would win. But Crit, I think, so they could reinforce with a piece of another color, or they could trade their mothership for another color. To red, yeah, that might be the right way to go. Roundabout building more green. Boy, Roundabout comes into Crit's home, moves out. They're like who moves in and out a lot? Like relatives coming for Christmas and then leaving and then coming back for other holidays. All right, Roundabout leaves again. Closing down the embassy themselves. All right, Crit trades for green. Yeah, I think Crit doesn't want to get left out of the green entirely. Roundabout might want to keep pushing the green. They could even do a... No, I don't think it's a good time for a shopping spree for Roundabout. I think they're Oh, thank you, Roundabout, for demonstrating. Okay, so Roundabout can do a shopping spree and get their large green back, but Crit now can build that G3 and Roundabout. Well, I guess that's not too bad. Roundabout comes up a little on material, but they'd well about the same on material really, because Crit's going to get the G3, and Crit would be up 3 large ships to 2. And I think I favor that slightly for Crit. So I don't like this shopping spree too much for Roundabout, and they don't commit. Do they build just the one G2, leaving the G3 for later? They do. Yeah, I think that's probably what I would have settled on. If Roundabout now spreads out their greens, so this is one of the reasons that green is such a funny color to try to dominate, because you can't use green sacrifices so well to gobble up the supply. Crit, if they build the G2, Roundabout can't build the G3 anywhere, but Crit can't build the G3 either. Roundabout can spread out, prepare to build it. Crit can block. Does Crit take the G2 build? I think it's a good move. Yeah. They do. Oh, Roundabout. I think that was probably an accidental draw offer. Moving into little green. That's pretty good. That threatens the overpopulation if Crit doesn't respond, and Roundabout could potentially get that G3. So Crit's got to block both of those. They might trade like the G2 for a red or discover that G3 as a star. Let's see what they come up with. Oh no, Roundabout doesn't even commit to it. They sacrifice. Oh, I see. Yeah, Roundabout was also worried, quite rightly, when Roundabout had 2 greens at home. They were worried about their mothership getting overpopulated. Yep, good. Good on you, Roundabout, for spotting what I failed. All right, Crit turning to blue. Roundabout's got just the 1 blue ship, and it's in a less good spot to build, so that seems pretty good. Spreading out the greens. Okay, lots of... All right. Well, I guess Crit... I thought that Crit has been restarting their turn forever, but not all that many times, actually. Okay, so they ended up building an R1 in their homeworld while sacrificing a G1 to do it, to avoid the overpopulation. Oh, no, I got confused. Okay. Crit sacrificed a G1 informal hut to build red over here. That was the only way to build red that they had. Yeah, that seems all right. Roundabout trades for some red. They commit. Yeah, they've been sparring over the yellow for a while, then they sparred over the green, and now it's the red. And Crit doesn't have good ways to build, really. And they might... trading one of them, I think, is a good idea. Oh, cleaning out the yellow supply? Oh, yeah, that's good. Roundabout's only got the 1 yellow ship, and Crit just got the rest of it. Roundabout, though, might find... Let's see if they got a good way. They haven't got a great way to clean out the reds. They'd get overpopulated. They can build 1, though. Oh yeah, and Crit doesn't have green anywhere. They can't build those larges even though they're open. I bet Crit tries to move into a position where they could. Yeah, trading for a green there. Roundabout could try to block, maybe trade to blue. Ooh, that's not so good. Crit would overpopulate for cheap. That's better. Crit can still overpopulate, but it'll cost them more, including a yellow. Oh, Roundabout really wants that R3. Oh, I don't love that. Crit gets to overpopulate just at the price of a small ship. Oh, Crit doesn't want it? Really? Building the R3? All right, well, I've had a couple of videos where I said it's better to create than destroy, but this is one case where I think destroying is probably better. Yeah, destroying a large, medium, and small for just the cost of a small. The argument for this choice of building the R3, I guess, is that even with the that advantageous destruction for crits, Roundabout would have more red and probably would have a better time building back into the red economy than Crit would. So this might be the best chance that Crit has to get red. But, you know, having that large ship of a non-yellow color gives Roundabout the opportunity to invade the Betelgeuse colony. And Crit can't do much about this very well. Let's see. Sacrificing the Y2. Spread out those yellows, trying to maintain the near yellow monopoly by discovering a yellow star, keeping it out of the bank. Not too bad. If they... I don't like leaving that Y2 in the bank. I think Roundabout will build it, and Crit starts losing their grip on the yellow domination. Yeah, Roundabout picks up that Y2 very quickly. Crit now building a blue. This is so another one of the important reasons that that extra yellow is kind of scary is Roundabout if could sacrifice it to use their R3 to invade a colony like say Altair if it builds up enough material that it's worth sacrificing a medium to invade. Crit thinking about invading here, that'll come out even. Two mediums, a medium and large for a medium and large yellow. I guess the reason Crit would be throwing away their well, they've pretty much lost their yellow control anyhow. But they will have an easier time building the yellows back up since they'll have two yellows to start with, and Roundabout won't have any. So this seems not too bad. Yeah, Roundabout really has to take that, I think. If they don't take it, Crit's going to capture the large and maybe a couple of reds. Ooh, the sacrifice for the red overpopulation. It's an interesting idea. Huh. Sacrifice the Y3, so there's a lot less to capture here in the Izar colony. Overpopulate one of Crit's larges and a colony invasion all at once. Crit will be left with just one red ship, and it'll be under threat. That's not a bad move at all, but Roundabout's looking at something a little different. Oh. Ooh. Trying to threaten the mothership with overpopulation as the last move. I think that's not as good. Because if I was Crit here, I'd sacrifice the R2 to capture the G2 and this Y2. Roundabout doesn't have any way to move more green into Crit's home, and Crit ends up ahead a fair amount in material. I don't like this one. Oh, but Roundabout commits to it. I like the other one better. Yeah, I like the other one a lot better, actually. Maybe Roundabout saw some problem with the other one. Crit here offers a draw. That seems like it's probably a mistake. Probably an accident. Yeah, sacrifice the red 2 to capture both. Yeah, I think that was a very clear choice. Does Roundabout have some sort of follow-up is my question now. Sacrifice to trade for yellow. Okay. That's interesting for Roundabout. So Roundabout has red and Crit has none. But Crit still has a turn to get more red before the trouble starts. Roundabout on their next turn could bring the G3 into Crit's home, but Crit has time to get red before that. Yeah, Crit. There's a chance they don't see it though. Crit needs red immediately. I would rather get it at home, but in a colony will do in a pinch, I guess. Okay, they pick the colony trade. Roundabout builds yellow. That opens up the large for Crit to build. I don't like that too well. Building green, I think I like that better. Put some pressure on Crit's mothership. Crit sacrifices, maybe. To build 2 yellows at once. Okay. I wouldn't do it this way, though. Yeah, Crit does get a large without expending a large this way, so they get up by a large ship. But I think I would put it in Altair instead of Izar, because this way Roundabout can knock out 2 large ships for 1, and it comes out... The material ends up pretty even. I think Crit would be better off doing that large build in Altair. Oh yeah, of course, even better. They've got yet another place they could build. Yeah, now Roundabout can't overpopulate at all. And Crit's got a pretty good hold on the yellows again. Quite nice, quite nice. Yeah, that colony invasion is an interesting choice. There's enough material to be tempting, but Crit could then sacrifice the Y2 to move the little yellow into Altair. Roundabout would lose their... so Crit would lose small, medium, medium, small. Roundabout would just lose a large, which normally I'd say is a pretty good trade for Roundabout, but that sends Roundabout all the way back to just having these 4 ships at home, and Crit would have all these other ships, including 2 larges. I think that ends up better for Crit. Yeah, so Roundabout trades for blue instead. Yeah, that's probably among their better moves, since Crit has the only blue ship at the moment and is poised to start building mediums and zipping ahead. Spreading out the greens, I don't think I like that as well. A few different options here. Let's see what they decide on. Trading for blue, that seems pretty good. Crit will get a medium, but Roundabout can push their blue forward and be prepared to build the large if it were to become available. Crit thinking about threatening overpopulation at Betelgeuse. Yeah, that's pretty good. If Roundabout doesn't react, well, I wouldn't have started with this move though, because Altair, that makes Altair a better target for invasion again. But if Roundabout doesn't react to this, then Crit can sacrifice a Y2 to move 2 Y1s into Betelgeuse for the overpopulation, and Roundabout would just be left with 4 ships at home, and that's pretty good for Crit. Yeah, Roundabout thinking about sacrificing for the capture. That's going to leave them with only 3 ships once Crit moves in for the overpopulation. I think it's got to run. Yeah. It's... Roundabout's large is safer in a system that's not connected to all these colonies where Crit's got all their yellow power. Crit takes a little green. I'm a little surprised they don't take the medium blue. It's safer to build here in Altair than it was a moment ago, since this Y3's just moved off. Roundabout, okay, moving to threaten the R2. That is Crit's only red ship, and I think Crit's going to have to sacrifice a yellow to get it out of there. Sacrificing the medium yellow to get a couple of moves out. Interesting. Putting the blue in a more aggressive position. Sacrifice. Oh boy, sacrificing the Y3. I don't sacrifice a Y3 unless it's really going to get me something big. Yeah, they took it back. Move to a Y3. Okay. All right, let's fast forward to the actual decision here. Okay, they ended up... Gosh, they did. They sacrificed the Y3 to move red 2 to a safe position where it's guarded by a Y3. Move blue up here to Betelgeuse where it's more aggressive against roundabouts. Blue star and green from home. Let's see. G1. Oh, G1 from their home out here also to this nice safe colony. Okay, that seems pretty good. They've diversified this colony a lot, pushed their blue forward. Seems all right. And of course, that Y3 they just sacrificed can be rebuilt on their next turn here in Altair. So Roundabout wants to invade Altair to prevent that build. Crit can still build it somewhere else. They just need to sacrifice the green to do it. Or they could build it in go ahead and build it in Altair, and then overpopulate if Roundabout doesn't leave. Sacrifice for the capture? I think they should actually leave. Yeah, sacrificing the R2 for the double capture I think is even worse, because you've lost that medium ship, and I think Crit is... If that large ship doesn't get out of there, Crit's just going to defend with the overpopulation. Capturing one? Nope, you just got to retreat. Boy, a lot of invading and retreating here. I think... I know these players are good, but what it looks like to me is that both of them need to think about their invasions a little more carefully. Whether they actually have the red power and the standing to really do something productive with that invasion, or if, because they've been having to back off of their invasions pretty often. Crit building the blue, that's threatening to overpopulate Roundabout's home star. Roundabout will want to move or trade. Moving is probably best. I think Roundabout is getting close to feeling the pinch that the late game fortress setup sometimes brings, where there aren't as many colors of smalls as you might like. Roundabout might have wanted to, for example, move to a... Well, no, they probably didn't want to move to somewhere that they couldn't move away from. Moving it somewhere protected is probably best, but if they had wanted to go to a small green, it would have opened up the mediums for Crit to build. Not that that's actually such a bad thing, but just a reminder that sometimes the fortress comes back to bite you in the late game if you don't have enough ships on the field. And yeah, Roundabout, they've only got one colony. And so the lack of small ships, small pieces in the bank is going to hurt before long here. And yeah, I should take a step back too and just point out that, yeah, Crit's got a lot more ships, and Roundabout is in pretty big trouble. I think Roundabout's going to have a hard time finding any progress here. So Crit builds a third yellow here just outside of Roundabout's home. And I've been forgetting to evaluate doomsday situations here. Roundabout is ages away from getting much done, and Crit is just about to a doomsday machine. They can sacrifice a Y3, move all three blues in to blow up Roundabout's blue star, and then the large star is the blue one. So Roundabout's home will get connected to Izar and Altair, and Crit can sacrifice the Y3 to move in the yellows to finish the win. Roundabout is 2 moves from losing and needs to be looking at desperate things like... I think the only way they can even defend is to sacrifice the Y3 move the B1 into Betelgeuse to knock out all those blues that are planning to invade next turn. Okay, Roundabout just builds green, and maybe they were... I, you a warning for everybody, just based on what happened to me just now. I was so focused on the minutia of maneuvering ships in and out of colonies and who can attack what, that I missed that Crit was building up an entire Doomsday machine, and they've got it ready now. Crit wins in 2 turns. That's just it. If assuming Crit knows what they've got. Looks like Crit's gonna slow roll it, moving in just the B1 to start, but they've got enough material. They could do it in 2 turns. The traditional 2-turn Doomsday machine. Roundabout will capture. Might as well, I guess. I don't know that it actually makes a difference. Crit. Ooh. If they just move in the blue, the 1 blue, Roundabout has a turn in which they can do something with that other blue. Probably not enough to turn the tide, but it at least gives them a turn to trade it or move it out. Crit, of course, can make more trouble by sacrificing the R2 and capturing the reds, but yeah, Roundabout didn't find any other way to spend that time. But they could have moved that blue out, potentially prolonging the game, because Crit doesn't have enough. Well, okay, I guess. No, okay. I guess the capture's right, because Crit could have just sacrificed the green to build a blue anyhow. Crit moves in the blue for the destruction, or they can accelerate things a little bit by sacrificing the Y3 to move in the B1 for destruction and move in a couple more yellows. Good. Roundabout now, doesn't really matter what they do. They can capture, but Crit can just move in the last one. Okay, so good game. I enjoyed that a lot. A few times from both players, mostly Roundabout. More Roundabout, I think, had trouble with wasting some time with invasions that weren't going to pan out. But I think Crit did that a couple times too. So that's one lesson from this game, and the other one I really noticed was just how that that Doomsday machine crept up on me, because I was so focused on so many other things that I forgot to pay attention to winning the game. Don't do that. After all of the time, you should be looking at those little details, but then also take a little step back and say, how does this affect the overall goal of the game, which is to destroy your opponent's homeworld or their home fleet? Because if somebody's getting very close to that objective, you've got to start taking drastic measures. All right, that's all for now. Thanks for watching.